Welcome to another episode of Brothers Beyond. My name is Andrew.
And I'm Ted.
And today's episode, we're going to dive more into Ted's current relationship. Ted, you've told me that this is the healthiest relationship you've ever been in. And I would love to hear how it started for you and what makes it the healthiest relationship that you've been in.
Yeah, so my fiancé Tyler and I have been together for 3.5 years, and we met on Tinder, and there's a whole lot that led up to the moment of us meeting, and I believe that all of the history that we brought into our relationship allowed us to have and enjoy such a healthy relationship now. In other episodes, you'll get to learn more about the history of relationships that I've had. And there was a lot of healing and learning and growth that happened that I think positioned me so well to be ready to receive and enjoy such an amazing relationship with Tyler. And we both did kind of our own individual work leading up to this. And we've learned and grown a lot since being together as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we already had a pretty great starting point for us.
Yeah. So it sounds like because of the difficulties and trials and things that went wrong or things that you didn't want that happened in previous relationships, and the same for Tyler, that he's been through that kind of stuff too, that now you're both at this point where you've grown and healed and you've gotten really clear of what you won't accept and what you want to do instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, really clear on what we know we want and what we're willing to settle for, what our boundaries are, which are still evolving.
Yeah.
You know, in the first part of our relationship, I was still in a part of the journey of my life where I was very to myself. And so there were maybe some social gatherings or some family things that Tyler would invite me to. And I said no to a lot of things at the beginning because it was such a priority for me to have time to myself. And because I've grown so much in my relationship with myself, now I'm in a position where, more often than not, I'm saying yes to these things and doing more and putting myself out there more. And that feels good.
Yeah. Something jumped out at the beginning that I want to ask about is you got clear on what I don't want anymore. That seems to me to be a really critical thing.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many men out there in relationships, because I know I used to be like this, that you don't really know what you want. You've got a girlfriend, you've got a partner, and like the bar is really low. It's kind of like, I want someone who will be next to me and have sex, sometimes. If those are the qualifications of what you want, you might get a whole lot else with that you don't. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and in the past, I had very low bars, and after a really unhealthy relationship in the past, my bar was like, I just want someone to be nice to me.
Yeah,
By and large, I want somebody to be nice to me, and for us to be able to have conversations without it always leading to a fight.
Yeah. In addition to having the experiences that tell you what you don't want, what do you think is required to find out what you do, or what's required of a person?
I think contrast is really helpful. It was for me. Like I had, the experiences of the extremes of what I don't want. And it's like, well, I don't want this. I can't imagine how good things could get, but at least I want to move in this direction. So, and I had that experience. Like once I ended a 15-year relationship, I had a couple other long-term relationships that really kept getting healthier and kept getting better. I could start having disagreements with someone and it not being a fight.
Yeah.
And it was this mind-blowing, like eye-opening thing of, oh, you mean we don't have to be blowing up at each other just because we disagree on where to eat for dinner tonight. Which sounds so silly now in hindsight, but that's really where I was in the past.
Yeah.
And so once I got tastes of like, oh, this is good, I want more of this. Like once you have the experience of the opposite, it's like, okay, I want more of that. And for me, it got to a place where, well, I love myself and value myself enough that I keep wanting more. Like, why not?
Yeah.
For the first few years of my healing journey, it's like I kept getting happier and happier and feeling better about myself. And it's to the point now where I have enough evidence that even though I have no idea how things could get better because they're already so great, I know that's the trajectory that I'm on.
Yeah.
I think having relationship experiences with the contrast and also having good and healthy relationship experiences where I got to feel into the good stuff, that helped me get clear on what I want.
I think it takes a lot of bravery too and courage. Like you just said, I was able to have a disagreement about where we're going to dinner or some other small to medium-sized decisions and not turn into a major argument. Like, I think that requires a certain degree of courage and steadiness inside of oneself to be able to do that and speak up and say, I don't want this.
Yeah.
And beyond, I don't want to go to that restaurant. Like, I don't want you to talk to me that way. I want this. It requires like courage and bravery, and you have to ask. It takes something to find out what you don't want, but then you have to, I personally feel like you have to actually ask for what you do want.
Yeah.
I think there's another thing too, where maybe you're in a new partnership and maybe you're not getting what you want. You're not being treated the way that you want to be treated or something like that, but you don't ask for it. And then you assume that your partner is, you can become resentful and assume that your partner is intentionally doing this, or they're just not the right person for you. When I think if you asked, hey, I would prefer this. This would feel a lot better to me because what's happening right now doesn't feel so good to me. And if you don't do that ask, you're not giving your partner the opportunity to then be like, oh, wow, I didn't realize, and I can do that for you.
Yeah, those early conversations are so important to express your desires and also to see how that sort of request is received.
Yeah.
I can think of a dating experience in the past where I realized I was moving too quickly in a 3-week relationship. And I brought that to him and said, hey, I realize that I'm moving too fast. There's nothing that you've done wrong. I really need to pump the brakes and let's take this a little slower. And it was not received well. He kind of avoided the topic and changed the topic. And it's like, okay, well, that gives me information about how you might handle communication in our relationship. And it didn't last much longer than that.
Yeah, it's a big red flag if you're like asking for what you want, because that's a normal and healthy thing to do, is to be like, this hurts, or I have this preference, and tell the person if they love you and they want to be connected and they're able to listen, they're going to be like, okay, or that's new to me and I'll try. But if they have that kind of response that you just described, of just like freaking out, changing a topic, or not listening or ignoring, that's kind of a red flag. It's like, all right, if I make a request and it isn't heard or doesn't go well, then how can this relationship progress to be what I want? Or how can it be healthy if we can't talk about our likes and dislikes inside of this relationship?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you went through some of that process with Tyler?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think back. I think I was pretty clear on what I needed. So like personal space at that time, that was one of my big things. And I'm fairly certain I shared quite a bit of the history and kind of what brought me into our relationship. And so just sharing more about what some of my triggers are and what some important things to me are as far as communication. But a lot of it just kind of naturally happened and it would kind of come up organically. So one of the things that I really want to highlight that I'm so proud of with our relationship is both of our level of self-awareness and self-responsibility. Tyler had already done quite a bit of work on himself before we got together. And so by and large, he has been such a solid, grounded, present person in our relationship. And if anything, I feel like I have been the one who has had more stuff to work through in the context of our relationship because based on when our healing journey started and the degree of some stuff that I've experienced in the past. But I came into the relationship being very aware of myself, aware of my triggers, to where if we're having a conversation and something is feeling off, I'm able to tune into like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Is this actually about something with Tyler, or
Yeah.
is this reminding me of something in the past?
Yeah. It's just
And to
one of the
have this
things.
whole now very fast internal experience where I'm like, okay, that's not about Tyler at all. It's about something else, but I'm still going to voice that to him so that he's aware without me putting any responsibility on him for
Yeah.
how I'm feeling.
Yeah. 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 That's like just that level of self-awareness and self-responsibility is one, amazing, and two, makes things much more smooth and easier. And I also heard that you guys, well, kind of in the beginning, you shared a lot of your background and your history and a lot of these things so that he would know maybe what some of your preferences are and what some of your pain points might be. But then also that with such great levels of self-awareness and self-responsibility, that when things do arise, that you're able to identify if it's a you thing or if it's a us thing, and you're also able to talk through it and be heard and hear.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. And I don't know about you, but I'm in a similar point, and it's just a lot of gratitude for
Yeah.
what you're experiencing.
Yeah. And, again, the contrast is helpful because I think back to experiences in the past, and even 5 years ago, definitely 10 years ago, like the idea of having a relationship like I'm having now was so like far beyond any wildest dream I ever had. Like I thought relationships had to be a certain way, and now it's so like expansive and fun, and
Yeah.
and it keeps getting better and richer and more connected.
Yeah.
And I've really enjoyed kind of evolving individually and together.
Yeah.
Because that's brought a lot of new experiences for us.
I love hearing you speak to how good it feels, because I think it can be easy to view working on yourself and putting effort into your relationship as maybe a labor, something
Yeah.
of difficulty. But I just heard you say that it's been really pleasurable and it's really fun and it's opening up to something more expansive.
Yeah. One thing that I've said since writing my book a few years ago is I feel like the phrase relationships are hard work can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Because I went into a past relationship having heard that a lot, and that relationship very much was hard work. It was, intensive and painful. And I look back on it now and it's quite alarming what I put up with and tolerated.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a place where so much of our relationship feels effortless. There is effort into, so as an example, like sometimes, Tyler may extend an invitation to something that I don't 100% want to go do, but it would mean a lot to him. It's important to him. So of course I'm going to say yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that requires a little bit of effort on my part to go do something like that. But it's worth it to me for the connectedness of our relationship and for his happiness.
Yeah.
And when it comes to our communication, so much of that feels effortless and in the flow. And again, because there's such a degree of self-responsibility and self-awareness, it's like I don't have to work too hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because of things in the past, in relationship with Tyler and with other people, I can tend to be pretty averse to conflict, which I think is a pretty common experience.
Yeah, me too.
And so there's still a nervousness and a fear that might come in, even with Tyler, when I've had various past experiences that are evidence that why wouldn't this go well? Every other disagreement we've had, or, deep exploring conversation has gone well. Why wouldn't this one?
Yeah.
But there's still a like, this is really uncomfortable, and it requires bravery to speak to what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
It's getting, I would say, easier and more in the flow, but that has definitely been an evolution for me in our relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely see that. And I love the reframe of it's not hard work and it's actually joyful and fun, but also hearing that there can be some really uncomfortable parts.
Yeah.
And just, having that bravery to go there, knowing that there's going to be a positive, good outcome that you want on the other side of that.
And it's so refreshing to be with someone who has also done the work, and we're kind of in this together when it comes to the triggers and the things we're working through. I'm thinking about a conversation we had over the weekend where I was feeling some pretty intense stuff, again, that had nothing to do with him, but he was holding such a loving and gentle and safe space for me to like work through some stuff live, that stuff that had to do with him and our relationship, but that I knew the whole time, like he was doing nothing wrong. I just was kind of processing and figuring out what I wanted, what I didn't want.
Yeah. The source of it was back in the past, but it's being projected on, or somehow it's like, it's not about Tyler. He's done something, but it's really about you. You're able to see it. And sounds like he had the maturity to help or let you talk through it and work through it without maybe getting triggered in this big explosive way.
Right. He had the self-awareness, and he's evolved enough to know that what I was experiencing had nothing to do with him. So he was able to not take any of it personally and just be there as a loving space for me.
Yeah.
And it may not feel fun at the time, but there is a degree of like fun and joy in the idea of, oh, okay, well, this feelings are happening. Like, let's explore that. And to get to discover more about myself in the moment with him is really cool.
Yeah.
And it's such a gift.
Yeah. I agree, and I've had that too. And I think that hearing it, if you haven't had that type of experience and hearing it, it's just like, that's a little bit hard to believe that having a disagreement where I'm feeling activated or uncomfortable is kind of fun or joyful. But I've been there, and personally, speaking for myself, like where that fun or joy comes from in that situation is knowing that my partner and I are on the same team and we're engaging with this stuff with the intention to work through it and make it better.
Yep.
And like you said, like learning something about myself and maybe my partner also learning something about me. I felt in those situations a sense of relief. Like I feel safe, and I feel like, wow, I'm finally getting to process this with my partner so that this isn't a recurring thing.
Yeah.
And so I'll be in the middle of that and just feel a sense of relief happening, because it's okay that this is going on. It's okay that we're talking about this, or it's okay that we're in this place, and because this is contributing to betterment. This isn't contributing to growth and more ease in how we connect and communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tyler and I can't think of a single time when there's been any level of like finger pointing and blame because of the self-awareness. And I also know that that can be kind of a foreign concept for a lot of couples out there, including my past self. There was the shouting matches and just because of a lack of self-awareness, is like I'm feeling this really shitty way and it's all your fault.
Yeah.
Versus knowing what's happening inside of myself to be causing me to feel this way.
Yeah.
And knowing that no one else can make us feel a certain way, but we each have responsibility for how we show up in a relationship.
Yeah. For some reason, it's the default for us humans to be in a situation where we feel scared, angry, uncomfortable, anxious, and just immediately point the finger. And it's like, it's your fault, because it seems so obvious that here's part A, here's part B, and here's how they interact. And it must be because of this, we'll just say like foreign object. It's not me. If I was by myself, this wouldn't be happening, right? But here's this other element. Here's particle B in the equation. And there's a problem. It must be this part. Because if I'm by myself, that doesn't happen. So here it is over here. If you want to look at it that way, it's true. If you want to believe that, it can be true for you. But on another level, if you're able to have more awareness of yourself and look at your patterns and look at your triggers and look at what's uncomfortable, you can start to take responsibility and be like, okay, you did something, but that something doesn't have to make me feel this way. I feel this way because of this thing in the past, and I'm scared, or whatever it is. But it's really interesting that that's our default. And but you can get to this other place without a whole lot of work. It's just commitment to, like, you got to be humble, you got to have humility, and be like, okay, what is it about me? What is it about me? What's inside of me? Right? I'm going to take responsibility and ownership. So it's a really powerful thing to start doing, actually, because that responsibility is like ownership.
Yeah.
I'm doing this and I now have the power to change it, because otherwise it's out there. It's, you did this and I have no power to change it. My power lies in cutting you off or leaving. Right?
Ownership without shaming or blaming yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
not blaming the other person.
Yeah.
And not blaming yourself.
Yep. That's a huge piece.
And, you know, we had another video on this channel about the gift of the trigger. And self-exploration can be fun. It may not feel like it at the time.
It might not.
I think about the conversation we had over the weekend, and it was kind of a mix for me. It was like simultaneously, I was like, oh God, I'm feeling like really triggered right now, and that's uncomfortable. While also my mind was like, oh, this is really cool to be having this conversation and for me to feel so safe, and I'm learning more about myself, and just really, really great. And what I have found is that as humans, we tend to avoid conflict because of how uncomfortable it can be, and the shame and the blame that comes with that. And we kind of exist over here. And what I have found on my growth journey is, like, I'm moving more and more towards this direction of, like, that particle B that's giving me an experience to learn more about myself is such a gift. May not feel like it at the moment. But, you know, afterwards, when I have time to self-reflect and look at, like, okay, why that person cut me off in traffic, that's something that happened. Why was I so activated by that? I've been cut off before and other times and not been triggered. So what was it about this specific situation? And getting to learn more about myself. So maybe that day I was already feeling a certain level of stress and it was kind of at my boiling point, whereas this other day I was having a really great day and feeling really peaceful, and maybe I laughed at the person who cut me off. But this day it was not that kind of experience, and just learning more about myself through that process. That is a gift.
Yeah, it is. 100% agree. So what are some of the other really positive, healthy things that are happening in your relationship with Tyler? I've heard that you're able to state your preferences, talk about what you want, and have maybe some uncomfortable conversations that you are happy to be having, and that you both have a high degree of self-awareness, and that he's done plenty of work. Give me some, like, concrete examples of what makes this relationship the best one you've ever been.
Tyler has really helped me step into feeling deeper levels of joy and fun. He's a very joyful person himself. He experiences a lot of joy in everyday things. And, you know, for a long time, for me, joy and fun were really foreign. I was very, like, stoic and serious, and I took myself very seriously. I took life very seriously. And it's been really refreshing and helpful to be in a space with someone who has a lot of fun and laughs about stupid shit and laughs at himself. And it's still an opportunity for me to release some of that old stuff and to really, like, relax into a situation. I feel like there's still some ongoing tension that I hold in my body, but it's been so helpful to have that. It's like I'm gaining that by osmosis. And
he's kind of like writing you a permission slip, like, hey, look at me, I'm doing this. Wait, do you want to do it too?
It's fun.
Can you think of an instance of that where he was kind of inviting you to loosen up through his actions, through some circumstance that happened?
I think generally how our relationship has been, there may have been, like, specific moments of an invitation, but it's more so, like, just by nature of him being who he is,
Yeah.
then I have the permission. I'm
Yeah.
giving myself permission
Yeah.
to go there myself. And so I'm thinking of like some spontaneous moments where I may say something funny or do something silly that might catch him off guard. But it's because I've been so encouraged
Yeah.
by his presence in our relationship to do stuff
Yeah.
like that and just
Yeah.
let myself get into that.
I wasn't thinking that he was like, hey, Ted, do you want to come dance with me and make a funny joke right now? And you'd be like, let me think about it for a while. Like, yes, he with just his presence and how he carries himself is like, oh, I can do that too. Was there a point maybe at the beginning of your relationship where you were being around him more and you felt something different in that regarding this stoic kind of frozen thing that you had going on?
Yeah. I think I've gained a lot from him in terms of his appreciation of everyday things, whether it's the food on his plate or a sunset. Like they're so small in nature, but they were impactful for me.
Yeah.
And me noticing that of like, yeah, I can be more grateful and notice the joy of the flavors on the plate, of like the food that I'm enjoying right now, rather than just being like, oh, this tastes good, and then getting lost in conversation, which of course conversation is great too, but like to really appreciate, like we love food. We love a food adventure, cooking at home, going out, trying new places, and like sharing food. And it's fun to get into the detail of the flavors or the cloud formation in the sky and the colors of the sunset. Like, there's so much that opens up when we allow ourselves to appreciate everyday stuff. And with that comes a degree of like relief and letting go of the overthinking that might be happening, or the stress or the tension or whatever. And that then it lends itself to just generally being more joyful, having more fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like opening the door. Also, what I'm hearing there, what maybe is not being said, is like he's pointing out these things, whether it's flavors in the food or the colors of sunset or maybe flowers or something like that, that it's kind of like bringing you to the present moment.
Yes.
When maybe you've been up here,
correct,
in the future or in the past, and he's like, hey, check this out right here. Isn't this great? And you're like, oh, wow, it is great.
Yes, very much so. That's it. Yeah. Thank you for calling that out, because it is very much a gift that Tyler has of being present a lot of the time, more so than I am. And again, it's an invitation that allows me to be more present, generally speaking, whether it's in that moment or just in general.
Yeah. To zoom out, something that I have dealt with, that I've actively worked on, and I think that's such a common theme among men, to be up here and to be like focused on the future or focused on the past of like, when am I going to make my $1 million and what do I need to do, and all the work stuff and the emails or how I was hurt and everything. And it's just all up here. It's just, you're running those tapes. I'm speaking to it because that's been a big part of my experience as a man, and I see it a lot. I think it's a real, because that's just how I feel like that's how we're conditioned. This is the tool that solves the problems. This is the tool that you use to move your little chess piece through life. And it's a big flip when it's like, life's not a game to be won. It's a blessing. It's a work of art to be immersed in.
I'm smiling and laughing because there's such a collaboration for Tyler and me of, I overthink a lot. He also does. I tend to overthink more than he does. But we have this fun relationship where we recognize when the other person's overthinking. It's quite comical when we catch ourselves both overthinking about, we have 4 things happening on a Saturday, what order we want to do them in, or like which restaurant. And we're both Capricorns, so we really like efficiency. And so it's like, well, if we go here and then here and then here, that's not efficient. We should go here, here, and here. But with that, and just like we catch ourselves and laugh and pause, and it's like, we don't need to overthink this. it's literally a 2 mile difference between here. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
and we can do that for each other as well. So, sometimes I'm formulating plans or ideas out loud, and the number of times we've said to each other, don't overthink it. You don't
Yeah.
need to overthink it.
Yeah.
And that's such a helpful jolt of
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. I
Yeah.
do not need to put that much thought into this thing. And you're right that we were wired to have plans and figure things out and achieving the success like you were
Yeah.
talking about.
Right. That's such an amazing thing that like that is part of why this relationship is healthy. Absolutely, it would be healthy for any relationship, but I love that that is part of your healthy relationship.
Yeah.
That like you are both able to help each other be like, oh, we're overthinking this. We're not trying to win an award for the most efficient flow of our day. Like, all right, Home Depot's here, then 2 miles. We better go here after that instead of here. I do that shit all the time. It feels so much better to be like, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go to Home Depot first. I want to go here first. Let's go do the fun thing first instead of like what's economical, right? Like to save gas or whatever the fuck we're doing. Like, sorry, I love planet Earth. We should save gas, but like, it feels so much better to acknowledge that this is what I want rather than using this tool to override what's authentic for your soul.
Yeah. And it's really fun, and it brings a lot of laughter into our relationship where one of us will be going on an overthinking rant and the other one may not say anything. It might just be a smile, a knowing smile. Sometimes when Tyler does that, I'll just be smiling because I'm like, I have such a mirror in front of me of like, this is the shit that I do.
Yeah.
And getting to laugh at it and smile, because I don't judge him. I might judge myself for overthinking, but like that sort of experience gives me the gift of like,
Yeah.
I don't need to judge myself. I'm not judging him. I'm having fun with this.
Yeah.
And just like chuckling at the mirror.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, good share. That's a big shift to make. And I'm glad that you guys are in that space. Yeah. Is there anything else that you can think of going back to that question of what are some other things that make this the healthiest relationship you've ever been in?
Going hand in hand with being the healthiest. I use the word thriving a lot. With that comes a lot of fun and joy. And it's almost like the fact that our relationship is healthy is like the baseline. And there's not active things that we're doing to make it healthy.
Yeah.
It's just how we are.
Yeah.
Who we are as people.
Yeah.
How we go about our day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, the fact that it's the most enjoyable relationship of my life is, we say often to each other, it's like we really love experiencing life together, whether it be new experiences or things that we've done before, but maybe a different flavor. Last night we're at a movie theater and watching the previews, and some previews of movies that we wanted to see and some that we absolutely did not want to see, and having little whispered conversations in between. We would never talk during the movie. That's very important to us. But there was a moment that Tyler had during the previews where he had this like moment of like closing his eyes and just taking a deep breath. And I knew what he was experiencing, but he told me after. I had a moment of just like really loving my life. And the simple thing of sitting in a not great movie, but doing it together and then getting to talk about it after, about here's the things we liked about that movie, here's the things that we did not think were very great. We went and got ice cream after, and that was spontaneous, and it's just like there's so many layers and levels to our relationship, our lives. And I love that our conversations can go from talking about a bad movie to spontaneously getting ice cream, expressing appreciation to Tyler for the spontaneous idea, because spontaneity is another area of opportunity for me, and that's something he's brought into my life. To go from the fun thing into a deeper conversation of thank you so much for suggesting this, and then enjoying the flavors of the ice cream together. And I made a Facebook post like a year or so into our relationship of like, I love that in the span of 10 minutes of talking to Tyler, we can talk about Taco Bell, Drag Race, the like deepest levels of human existence, God, and then loop back around to the sunset or something silly that's happening that one of my cats is doing or whatever. And there's such a flow to it. And I love that we can have such a range of experiences and conversations together.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I really heard you say that like part of the healthiness of the relationship is just the state of your individual health.
Yeah.
That Tyler's got such a great connection with gratitude and appreciation and spontaneity, and you can bring those aspects of your own health, mental health, and how you relate to life to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of us, and our relationship gives me even more drive and passion behind coaching people in their relationships, because I know what's possible. I know that even more is possible for us. I don't know what that is, but again, the trajectory. And having had the experience in the past that I had and witnessing some similarities in other people's relationships, I can say with confidence that if more people enjoyed the level of healthiness and fun and joy and love and connection that we have, this world would be a very different place.
Yeah.
And it's not just about your relationship with the other person. It's the foundation of that is your relationship with yourself.
Yeah. 100% agree with that. Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Ted.
Yeah. Really proud of us. And it has been fun to talk about us.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for showing up and sharing all those details.
Yeah.
And I think that's it for today. Is there anything else that you wanted to say that you didn't get to say?
Nope. That's all I got. It's been a joy to share it today.
Thank you. And I want to say to those of you listening that maybe some of this stuff sounds crazy, like so far removed from your experience or just foreign or something like that. But I want to tell you that you can have healthy, positive, happy, loving relationships where you can be heard and ask for what you need and get those permission slips from your partner to change and all that kind of stuff. You can experience that. And don't be discouraged or dismayed if you haven't experienced that yet. You being here listening is a really important and major indicator that you want that and you want to move in that direction. And also that every relationship is different. So what Ted believes what makes his relationship healthy is maybe going to be different from what you feel like is what makes your relationship the most healthy.
Yeah.
So it's not that there are these like standard check marks. I mean, there are absolutely some important pillars, but every relationship is going to be a little different.
Yeah. So every individual relationship is going to have two people with different histories coming into that relationship, and how those dynamics interact is going to be unique for every couple.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yep. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.